Of all the potential candidates we have profiled on our 12 in 2012 series, Christie might be the most reluctant. The New Jersey governor has joked that only extreme measures would convince people to believe him when he says he's not interested in running. Tonight, the many people nevertheless describe him as one of the party's rising stars.
I said, you punch them, I punch you. And that's what we're doing in New Jersey.
It's that fiery speech with his tell-it-like-it-is attitude that helped get New Jersey Governor Christie elected in the first place.
I need to show you what New Jersey is all about, so here we go.
Headlining this Indiana State Republican dinner last month, Christie was hailed by his political best friend, Hoosier State Governor Mitch Daniels, as bigger than Bono.
I said, you're aiming too low. If you want a real rock star, you got to get Christie from New Jersey.
And judging by the reaction of the crowd, Christie added a few hundred staunch Republicans to his rapidly growing fan club. As far as mainstream America is concerned,
I enthusiastically declare my candidacy for governor of the state of New Jersey.
Christie came out of nowhere, bursting onto the scene last year. His fight to be New Jersey's governor was just that. One that had national attention and some would argue national implications. Christie beat liberal incumbent Governor John Corzine, a close Obama ally. And along with Bob McDonnell in Virginia, their victories in states held by Democrats were seen as the first indication Obama supporters were starting to wane.
The governor's call was gracious. I thanked him for his years of service to the state. He pledged a smooth transition.
But that smooth transition was short-lived. Christie found out that the $500 million surplus Corzine promised existed was actually a $2.2 billion deficit. Christie impounded the full amount in spending by executive order and told the Democratic legislature to clean up the mess without raising taxes.
And they said, start calling me names. Start calling me Julius Caesar and Napoleon Bonaparte, all those great leaders of the past. Men I deeply admire.
Christie's seeming inability to mince words has also made enemies with the New Jersey Teachers Union, stemming from proposed wage freezes and benefit concessions.
So I said to them, if you make that deal, freeze your pay for 1 year and contribute 1.5% towards your health insurance, we will be able to balance off these cuts and have no teacher layoffs. The answer was no. And in fact, they called our plan the greatest assault on public education in the history of New Jersey.
I feel like you have alienated so many people with your rhetoric about how we are bilking this state of all this money. When I'm a taxpayer and because of the budget cuts that you have implemented, I'm going to have a hard time paying my bills this year.
Well, a few things. First of all, I have not lambasted the public school system in the state of New Jersey. What I have lambasted, well, listen, let's start with this. I stood here and very respectfully listened to you. If what you want to do is put on a show and giggle every time I talk, well, then I have no interest in answering your question. So if you'd like to conduct a respectful conversation, I'm happy to do it. If you don't, please go and sit down and I'll answer the next question. What's your choice? All right.
It's funny, right? I mean, it would be funny, except this is the crap I have to listen to.
And one of the local union presidents even prayed for Christie's death.
They said they didn't intend it to be public. So private prayer for my death would have been okay.
While Christie rarely talks about foreign policy or national security threats, he dealt head-on with the threat from radical Islam as New Jersey's Attorney General, investigating, arresting, and prosecuting the group of men who were eventually found guilty of terrorism charges for trying to attack Fort Dix.
The philosophy that supports and encourages jihad around the world against Americans came to live here in New Jersey and threaten the lives of our citizens through these defendants.
Christie's tendency to stand up to the liberal establishment has ignited a national grassroots following that is begging Christie to throw his hat in the presidential ring.
I think Chris Christie is so popular with the Tea Party because they like both his style and his substance. He has a very forthright style. He doesn't hesitate to confront critics and tell them exactly what he thinks, whether they're the press or citizens.
In fact, privately, Tea Party leaders say he's the politician they most want to draft in 2012.
They would love to see him run. Christie has appropriately concluded, at least for the time being, that it's not in his interest to do so. It's amazing how many public officials are perfectly happy to abandon the position they've got to run for the higher one.
Listen, I've said I don't want to. I'm not going to. There's zero chance I will. I don't feel like I'm ready to be president. I don't want to run for president. I don't have the fire in the belly to run for president. But yet, everybody still thinks, well, he's left the door open a little bit.
Christie was all set to sit down for an interview with us, but pulled out. Perhaps to make sure no one can accuse him of even looking like he's considering a run.
Short of suicide, I don't really know what I'd have to do to convince you people that I'm not running. I'm not running.
But try as he might, Christie is still seen as a rising leader who could reshape the GOP.
We need to start taking our country back, not in 2012, not by focusing on who our nominee for president is going to be. It is put up or shut up time for our party.
Please join me for a roundup of all our 12 and 2012 coverage. Fox News reporting the challengers for 2012 airs Saturday at 9 p.m. Eastern.